The world of work is arguably something demotivating for almost everybody, but today I want to focus specifically on our younger people because I have a lot of people in the comments saying if young people want to improve their situation, they should just get a job. But when we have a look at the facts and the statistics rather than opinions, we see that it makes a lot less sense than you might think. For a lot of people under the age of 18, their minimum wage is nothing near what an adult's is. For example, when you turn 21 and above, you get 11.44 as your minimum wage. If you're under that age, you get £6.40, right? Under 18, £6.40 an hour. And if you have a think about this, yes, some employers may pay you the full £11 if you're 16, 17, in which case you've kind of looked on, right? You've got a great employer. But at the same time, if you're working for £6.40, why would you even bother? Like, think about the amount of hours that you'd crush. You'd have to crush 12-hour days and you still wouldn't even make £100 a day. And this is the thing. We work to have good things, to have money, to have savings, to be better off. But I'll give you an example from my personal life. All of my life I've run online businesses and I still do. At age 21 is the first time where I've ever even considered getting a job as well. Because before that, working for £6, £7 an hour, I made more doing my own online stuff, right? It never made sense to get a job. But now at age 21, where you're getting the £11.44, it's slightly more, it makes a bit more sense. But seriously though, think about this for our young people. Why would anybody give up 6 hours of the day to make what? £50 or less? 12 hours, 10 hours to make less than £100? You're giving up the same amount of time and arguably putting in the same amount of labour as somebody my age or older, especially in these minimum wage jobs which are not skills dependent, right? They're very, very low skills, they're very, very easy jobs. You're getting much less pay. So you're getting basically half or just over half of what your colleagues are getting. You're expected to do the same work. And again, you will not have anything to show for it at the end of the day. I know when you're under 18, likely you live with your parents, likely you have lower living expenses, and most of the money that you have you can save. But think about this. This is also the time where you can have the most fun with your life. When people work, they want to get something from it. Who is going to sit down in a place for 6 to 10 hours to 12 hours a day to make no money, to make next to no money? Even if you can save it all, this is not an excuse when your colleagues are doing the same work and getting paid substantially more. And that's why a lot of young people don't want to work straight away. Now, there's a second part of this question that a lot of people fail to acknowledge. A lot of people like to say young people don't want to work. That's not the truth at all. A lot of them do. But when we have a look not just at the figures, the numbers, when we have a look specifically at the employment criteria, it takes a lot of them out of the running. I'll give you an example from what I've seen, right? I applied for over 250 jobs at age 21 and got like 3 interviews, right? 3 interviews. Now think about that really. We're not talking about being a manager or anything like that. We're talking about shops, bars, restaurants, cafes, warehouse. 3 interviews. So when you think about it like this, you've got to put an awful lot of work in to even get the jobs. You do the jobs and you get next to nothing, right? Yes, you can save a lot of that money, but the amount of time that you give up arguably makes it not worth it. Why would anybody do this? And then we come on to the next thing, which is instability. Now, of course, these lower skilled minimum wage jobs are more high turnover in the sense that people quit them, leave them a lot faster, arguably because a lot of the time management is poor, but also because management will sack people very, very easily. The amount of people that I've seen who get dismissed, sacked, whatever you want to call it, out of a job for the smallest things, right? Like being a couple of minutes late or talking too much on the job. This actually does happen in a lot of these workplaces because they know that this workforce, they're low skilled. They don't, especially if they're 16, they will happily get rid of staff very, very, very quickly. Very quickly. They don't care. So that's a big thing. And then you think about the jobs that you do get offered, right? If you ever do get a position in these places at all, chances are the places that are going to give you the golden opportunity, yeah, these are going to be either 0 hours contracts and or pretty bad jobs, right? Now I understand the idea of working bad jobs. For example, I know some people who work warehouses, they say it's boring, but they get like 16, 17, 18 pound an hour. Fair enough. Good money, to be fair, for the job. Low skilled, fairly easy, but, you know, it's good money for that job. £6.40 an hour for a difficult job or a boring job. Again, when you're looking around and your colleagues might be getting, what, 12, 15, and you're getting 6. So you already feel like you're getting robbed. The jobs aren't that good or engaging themselves, there's no progression, and again, if it's just a job whilst you're in college, school or university, yeah, you don't necessarily need that, but still, management don't care. A lot of the time you're always in fear of losing this position because, well, they will get rid straight away, they often do. And then when you add the fact that you don't know what hours that you're working a lot of the time, if you're in these 0 hours kind of jobs, what's the point, right? Now, a lot of the time, not just for young people, but for all ages, these 0 hours jobs, we act like they help the young people themselves, but here's a funny thing, right? If you're a school, college, uni student, and you don't turn up to a prescribed shift and you can't get anyone to cover it, you still get in trouble by the management, right? They'll happily still dismiss you or ask why. The 0 hoursness or the nature of it, it doesn't help you, right? It helps them. They can just give you less hours if they don't have any demand or anything like that. It's not the fact that you can work less. Sometimes it is if you've got a really good company, but these are often set up to benefit the employer. They will give you 1 shift a week, no shifts a week if there's no availability. And again, add this to the fact that you're already not getting very much money, so you're not going to have much savings to ride off. What's the point? What is the point? Some of the time you'll actually be worse off. When you add in, especially under 18, some of the benefits that you might get from the system, whatever, fair enough, for being a child, you may be worse off. And then you think about not only the fact that you don't get paid very much, not only the fact that you're around a lot of people who don't care, they're demotivated from the job themselves, you're not given any set hours. And you're sacrificing hours of your day, days of your week, in arguably the most important time of your life. Again, the idea of work is you put units of labour in, you put in time, you put in hours, you put in energy, and you get something to show for it. And under the age of 21, this is particularly not the case. I understand £11.44, £12, £13 even in today's market, 15 is not a lot of money. 18 plus, right? 21 plus. Because again, we've got rents to cover, houses, cars, all these things. But at the same time, £6. Why would think about this logically, right? Why would you, when your living costs are already covered, probably by parents at 16 or 18 or whatever, or below that, why would you give away the best days of your week, the best hours of your day, to get nothing, to have no stability? You don't know where, if you're coming or going, because you might get dropped, you might get sacked, you might not get any hours. You have to put in hundreds of applications to even get the job in the first place, right? And then they wonder why young people don't want to work. You don't get stable jobs where you get decent pay, so you can... I know people who are under 18, right, who work, and the idea of even affording a car to them is undoable. Let's refresh the screen. The idea of affording a car is undoable to them. So if you can't even afford a basic thing, if you can't even see what you're working towards, why would you continue to do it? Why would you even think to do it? If you think, well, I'm still not going to be able to afford a car. I'm still not going to be able to afford to move out or save up that much money. So what are you doing then? Who's actually benefiting from this work? Well, again, the employer is getting the same worker that they would for £12 an hour, right? They're still taking your time. They're still having you do a job. But think about who's actually winning. And a lot of the younger people now are switched on to this. It's no wonder why nobody wants to work in these jobs. Especially young people. Especially. Because they get the least from it. They put in the same work, right? And they get next to nothing for it. Who is going to give out a 12-hour day to get less than £100 in pay? 12 hours for less than 100. What is the point? You'd have to be working awfully hard, right, to get the basics, to get a car. And I know this is a luxury, but think about it. If you're working 6 hours, 12 hours a day, as well as being someone who's got your living costs covered because you're under 18, you should be able to afford some things, right? Why would anybody work for these jobs when they don't care and they don't feel the benefits from them? It makes no sense, and a lot of people are choosing not to do it.